A friendship in her work and wherever she was, and especially at McCright, her last year. She did a great job out there. So thank you all for coming, and she was special to all of us. That's why we're here.
Tomorrow would have been Corky's birthday. She would have been 94 years old. So we're doing a birthday party down here for her. She was born November the 14th in 1927. She graduated from high school in Dwight. She came to Topeka to work, and I don't know all of her. I know she lived in many places. She traveled. She finally ended up in Denver in, where's Annette? In the 60s?
Maybe. Kathy might know.
Somewhere around there. Decided to come back to Topeka where her family was. And when she came back here, Dan and I looked at different places and sent her information. She said, I'm only moving once. Wherever I land, that's where I'll be. And she chose McCright. And I think she enjoyed lots and lots of years there. I think her biggest thing she enjoyed there was the third floor. These ladies had a camaraderie you can't imagine. And she somehow learned that harvesters needed somebody to make bags to put food in to give away. And she got them to deliver these big rolls of netting. And then they put them on the end of the hallway on a table that was hers, that she gave to them to use. And they would unroll this roll and they cut off 2 feet, I think, and they tie a knot in one end. And you'd go to visit her. She'd be in her apartment, and she'd have a big handful of these strips, and she'd sit there and knot them. She did that for years. And the other ladies, or they had a divan and 2 chairs out in the hallway, and they'd sit there and chit chat. So that was, and she got an award. She and the ladies got an award for that, doing that. Anyway, volunteering was her thing. She was very happy there till probably the year before COVID hit, maybe 2 years before it hit. She was slowing down. Then COVID hit. We couldn't go see her. We couldn't do anything. She couldn't do anything. And that led to the downfall. She has 3 daughters, 2 brothers. One's here, that one. Paul is in California. And Annette and Kathy and Patty are here. She has 5 grandchildren. Am I right? I think I counted them right. And she loved those grandchildren. And to hear her talk, they were the smartest kids in the world. So
Sisters.
that's my speech.
Sisters.
Got sisters.
Oh, she's got sisters? Oh, sorry, ladies. I had it down here. I just skipped right over it. She has sisters, Louise and Mary Ann Murphy, wherever they are. There's one back there. Oh, and Floyd's the husband of Louis, and Murphy's back there hiding behind Terry. So, who else did I miss? Anybody? Anyway, as Floyd said, welcome to all of you. Now, I'm going to sit down and would love for somebody, whoever wants to come up here and share a funny or a serious or something about Corky to share with everybody else.
And so Murphy's 3 girls and me and Merle and Murphy went. And Corky didn't think it was fair that she didn't get to drive because she paid her share to rent the van. So we let her sit in the seat, and she said, I can either see over the steering wheel or reach the pedals, but I can't do both. And we said, you're not driving.
I wrote The Classy Angel because when I think of Corky, she just was a classy act.
Okay,
I'll
speak loud.
I am. Although we're sad you are no longer here, our memories of you will always be held dear. You were so beautiful inside and out. God made you special. There is no doubt. If someone needed a friend, you were there, lending a hand to show tender, loving care. Thank you so much for your kind words and deeds and for trying to meet everyone's needs. We remember you as being very classy and sometimes maybe a little bit sassy. You've seen many friends and family come and go, and saying goodbye was not easy, we know. Aches and pains and diminishing sight must have been hard to deal with day and night. However, God has welcomed you with open arms to once again see those who left earth before you and take you from harm. We will always remember you with abundance of love. Please continue to watch over all of us from above. Now it's time for you to relax and rest. We thank God for sharing with us one of the best. Classy Angel, we will always love you. And I wanted to also share something. One of the ladies on the third floor was the secretary at Barrington, Tanya Halbert. It was her mom. And they were just like when she came, Corky reached out to her and they were like besties. And it was funny because it's been, I think she was just saying it was 7 years, I think 5 or 7 years since her mom passed away. So,
Wow.
but they were good. And then the other thing I think of Corky, like we would have family reunions and sometimes we'd have the t-shirts, and she always made those t-shirts look classic because she'd wear like a shirt underneath it or something. So it didn't matter what she was wearing. She just made sure that, you know, she was looking.
And her matching jewelry.
It's right, her jewelry was awesome. So and she always had a compliment. It didn't matter if I put on 10 pounds. Oh, you look like you've lost weight. So, you know, she was great to hear that. But yeah, she was always full of compliments no matter what. And I will miss her. Thank you.
Night about maybe a year and a half ago, every night. I came to this country in '66, and you know, I had a lot of impressions. And Corky was telling me about her life at that time. It was amazing how she did what she did with kids as a single mom. And they all turned out pretty good, you know, I have to say. But I admired her, and it is amazing how we could keep having a conversation on the phone every night after I got done at the gym. You know, we'd talk, and I got to know her pretty well and what she had gone through. And so that's all I can say. That's the reason I'm here. I admired her greatly for who she was. And even when we went to McCrite's, you know, she always had good things to say, and it was fun to talk to her. And she appreciated so much stuff. I mean, it didn't matter. She always had something positive to say. Sometimes, you know, somebody said sassy. Yeah, but I enjoyed talking to her, and that was one of my highlights of the day a lot of times. To talk to somebody who brought back and let me know, hey, I did a good thing in those days. I really actually was a fighter too. Coming to this country was different, especially coming to Galena, Kansas. And that was like 7,000, and I came out of this city that was 800,000, and you know, it's so different. And she would kind of talk about that time that she went through at that time. And she, like I said, she was an amazing woman, and I appreciated her a whole lot.
I didn't really plan on necessarily speaking, but I grabbed a notebook on the way here and I said, what is my thoughts? And so several people have said some of the thoughts that I had, but I kind of went a different direction, I guess. And that's, what did Corky leave behind? Like her daughters. And it's funny how memory serves you. There are certain events that have happened in your life that stick. So I'm going to start with Annette, because you know, when you're the oldest, you always get to go first, right? But Annette was always confident and strong, and she was a is a trailbreaker. And a fashionista. I think I said that right. She always was coming up with something, and it seemed like a little before its time, but she was creative. But I loved the confidence, and I really felt like Corky was confident. And I think that is one of the traits that she definitely gave you. And Corky was a trailbreaker too, because she did have to manage life without a husband many, many, many years, raising children. And it isn't comfortable now, but it was particularly bad in her time because it was difficult to lay that road ahead of you, knowing that you had to come up with everything and you didn't get a lot of support. So I always respected that about her. So I have to tell a story now, a little just quick one about Annette. You know, I got a lot, you don't know maybe, but I got a lot of hand-me-down clothes. And that was okay because they were neat and they were fashionable. And I made some clothes. But there was a time when I was in junior high and go-go boots were the thing. White go-go boots, let me tell you. So I'm dating myself, but that was not a necessity. That was just for fun. Well, Annette had outgrown a pair, and we were talking about shoes, and Corky was there. And she says, well, I don't think Annette wears these anymore. So she went, she says, is it okay? And so she gave me my first pair of white go-go boots. And although I'm sure you have no recollection of it, it's stuck in my mind all these years. For Patty, I put artistic first, and then kind and careful, respectful, recognized emotions. She was very in touch with the emotions of others around her. And I think that was Corky's gift to her, because not everybody can be aware of somebody else's emotions. So we're aware of what's in the room or who needs attention. And even though Patty kind of disappears and blends in and is quiet, she's always been able to do this. But I want to say right now, you should have become a comic book artist. Man, she could draw those Archie characters well. And she would come up with her own characters. She has an artistic hand, and it's never too late. Who knows? I just now today started you on your new track. But I think Corky was creative. She decorated her home. She was maybe not the artist you were, but she was creative, and she had an artistic eye. So that's kind of what I was thinking about for that direction. And then Kathy. Kathy. No. Kathy has like the 100% energy. When she was younger, like she was everywhere. And she talked 1,000 words per minute. I didn't think anybody could out-talk her until I heard rap. And they can. But that you could speak so many words I couldn't even keep up to what you were saying. But she always has energy, and she has a lot of inspiration in her to take care of the world around her. She knows that there are things that need to be done, and she's not afraid to go do them to make an impact down the line. So I might call her the green lady, but she has a lot of ideas that I think she's tried to make happen for people with the homes, ideas, and architecture and things. But anyway, I got to tell a story on her too, because you know, if you're going to tell a story on two of them, you got to do it on all three. Now, I hope you don't get mad at me, because this one is a little bit ornery. But you know, Aunt Corky liked to keep her house neat. It was picked up. Now, we were in a family that had a lot of kids, and my mom and dad both worked very hard to keep our home very neat. But when you have 6 people around, neat looks different in different people's homes. So to me, everything was always in its place in her home. And Kathy says, yeah, it's the most important thing, and which you know it wasn't. But as a kid, she said she would always say this. I wrote it down, so hopefully I say it right. If I cut myself outside and came running into the house, my mom would say, don't drip any blood on the rug. Before she'd say, am I okay? She probably actually remembers saying that. But to her, that house being clean had a different place because she was living in the house, and she knew that it was important. And I'm sure it meant she had to clean up more, I don't know. But what I do know is that her mom always did care about her first. It just sometimes as a parent, it's really hard when you're raising kids to say the right things at the right moment and to have the patience you need to have. And a lot of you talked about her friendship. So I think she designed a part of her in each one of you that really were characteristics that she had. And she was always caring. I love that Lisa stole part of mine, because I was going to say, you know, she could make you feel like $1 million. And it could be that you talked to her about weight or something, and next time or 3 times later, she'd say, well, you're looking really good, or that outfit looks great on you, or did you lose a few pounds? And So she was good about that. And the other thing is that she knew how to lift up spirits. So if you were down, to find some real positive things to say. So I hope I didn't take too much of your time, but I really think we all have a little piece of her in us, the giving and the caring, and I think that's what she gave to McCrite too. I think it was her second. I mean, she had a lot of homes, a lot of houses she lived in, but she made that a home, and she made it feel like home for a lot of women who were struggling. And you gotta love her for that. And some of my students actually worked, yeah, tell my age, grew up and worked in that facility with her, and they had nothing ever to say in a negative way. So they lifted her too, and see, that's passing it on to this younger generation. So anyway, God bless her. Hope she's just partying all the time.
We'd always stop and see Corky and stay overnight, and then go on Grand Junction. And we'd go out to eat once in a while. And you know, it was kind of neat to know he had a place to stop and still, you know, enjoy visit her. But anyway, she had this little small house that when she got done decorating it, it looked like a big house. But when we brought our kids in there, it was on floors and everything. But anyway, I had a good relationship with her. We'd take her and Mary with us, so sometimes traveling. And I always enjoyed the sharing stuff with her. We got a lot of road miles with them in the cars. And somehow everybody got along. I don't know. But that's about all I can say is we had a close relationship, and like I do with all the family, but she was always on top of things. She tuned into everything. And so we're gonna miss her very much.
He helped me through the worst time in my life, and that was, I was in an abusive marriage, a dangerous marriage, and I had 2 little boys. And anyway, we've developed a real close relationship. In fact, girls, you don't know it, but I was your blonde sister. She always introduced me. This is my 4th daughter. Oh, and we do look alike. Anyway, she helped me so much during those really rough times. And when Larry and I met at church, believe it or not, people still do meet at church. She was in the adult single Sunday school class. It was all denominational at First Baptist Church. And it was led by Dr. Paul Eppinger. I don't know if you know, remember, they used to do family counseling. They had it was on PBS, wasn't it? Channel 11, on Sunday evening, him and Sybil. And anyway, he was fantastic. And my minister at my church had recommended that I go there, because I was the first ever in my family to be divorced. And I think that's a stigma back then that you had. But I had no choice at the time for my safety and the boys' safety. And anyway, when Larry and I took off and decided that we were going to get married, we were supposed to be going to a national singles conference in Green Lake, Wisconsin. He talks me into flying to Reno, Nevada. Is Jason still there? Is Jason in Reno?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's anyway. And Corky was the only one I told. I didn't tell anybody in my family, and I come from a big family. And I didn't tell anybody at work except Corky. And anyway, she hung in there, and she promised me she wouldn't tell anybody, and she didn't. She even got called into our boss's office, which I was the head administrative secretary to the boss, and she got called into Mr. Rothberger's office and drilled as to where is Deanne.
Wow.
And he treated me. He had 2 daughters, and I was right in the middle of his 2 daughters. And so I think he, you know, he was watching out for me too, because he knew what I'd gone through. And Corky said, I know, but I'm not gonna tell. I can't, I promised. And I think she even brought God into it. She said, he might strike me down. But anyway, she was such a blessing to me and my boys, because she, several times when I started skiing, snow skiing in the winter, she kept, you know, babysat with my boys. And so anyway, and she was so good for me because I had such a negative attitude toward myself. And she worked on my self-esteem a lot. But anyway, we came out a couple of times to Colorado and visited her. So I've seen the little house, and it's beautiful up there on top of that mountain. And, but anyway, I just really loved her to death. And also tomorrow is my older sister's birthday. And so I could never forget Corky's. So anyway,
Thanks.
I really miss her.
I started back in 2011, and there was nobody there that would make you feel more comfortable and at home than Corky did. I'm a caregiver, and sometimes that can be a very thankless job, taking care of people, but never with Corky. She would always tell you how thankful she was that you were there, how nice you were. Nobody made you feel better about yourself than Corky did. And I was really blessed to be able to work with her, to be able to take care of her and get to know her. And she was very well loved at McCrite's. She was McCrite's. She made that place. She made that place what it was.
Yep, you're right.
So thank you for sharing her with us, because we all loved her, and she is missed.
I hope I have that energy when I'm 60. And I told her that story. I said, I don't. But I remember wishing, you know, that you just have so much energy and full of life. So. But yeah, she was so proud of all the calls she got for her birthday.
But I didn't have the guts to tell her. But I told her, if you really met my husband and my husband met you, I would never have married him because he would have had you. She was sweet. The sweetest person I know.
That was the first time she'd been back to Chicago since we moved in 1966. So the John Hancock building was all built, and I never thought about that, but she had never been back. But anyway, so we took the train, we checked into her hotel, and she unzips her luggage and opens it up, and this little Hirachi keychain that Josie gave her a long time ago was sitting like on top of her clothes. And she just starts freaking out. She's like, I didn't put that in there. It was hanging in the keychain thing. And she was like freaking out. And Josie, my Aunt Josie, her sister, was still alive. And so she calls her up. You know, we're going to call her up, and they're all having a big laugh about it. But she looked like she saw a ghost. It was the weird, she was like, and it was just sitting there real neatly, like it was just placed there. And she was still freaking out. And I'm like, what's the big deal? You know, I have stuff everywhere, you know. I don't know where everything is all the time, but she does. And so, you know, so for her, she's like, it's a sign, you know, I gotta call Josie, you know. And so everybody got a big laugh out of that. And then, anyway, it was a really, really fun trip, and I got to see her. It's like she was like 40 years old again. I mean, she was a completely different person. I mean, I would go to my conference, and she would sit in the restaurant by herself when normally she wouldn't stay anybody's place. I mean, even shopping, if she didn't see you, she would freak out, you know, that kind of thing. So she was like a completely different person. It was so nice to see her, you know, that personality come through. But anyway, we had a great trip. And so anyway, recently when I was going through some of Mom's stuff, the first thing, what happens? This thing falls out. And I'm like, okay, got it, Mom. Like nobody else would understand. They'd be like, yeah, it's a little Hirachi, it's a keychain, what big deal? But it's like, yeah, I was like, okay, Mom, I got it. I got your sign. So she was letting me know she's around. So anyway, so that's it.
But I just feel like she's always set a great example about how to recognize the other people. It wasn't one of these people that come in the room like here I am, but, oh, there you are, you know, and that's her personality. We couldn't go down the halls of McCright without stopping probably a dozen times to be introduced to people that knew her and things.
Yeah.
She's just a very caring person. When my mom had Lewy body dementia, we started trying to decide whether to bring her to McCright or not, you know, because we were kind of afraid that Corky would be there so much that she'd wear herself out. And she promised that she wouldn't, but she was there, you know, a lot to see her, but not so much. Hopefully it wasn't anything to wear her out, but it was just great because she'd say, you know, if you're having trouble after you see your mom and you need somebody to talk to or just want to visit, come on up. And so it was always nice to be invited to her house, and she always treated you like a celebrity when you got there, and just was so welcoming, and it was always a comfort. We miss her too.
And all the fun we had when we went to visit her in Colorado with the kids and everything. You know, he was very, very welcoming. Excuse me. Very welcoming, and we had a great time. She's, you know, like I said, at times we would go to McCright to see mom, you know, see Corey's mom. We'd always stop by Corky, and you know, she was always welcoming and glad to see us.
And feed us.
And feed us. We couldn't walk out the door without getting something to eat. You always want to give us something. So.
And she would go check every morning to see if that angel had moved, to see if that person was okay. And she was such a delightful person always. And she and I loved angels, and she gave me an angel from her pocket.
Yeah.
And then when she lost her eye, she was so proud. She said, "You can't see it, but there's a Jayhawk on there."
But we had a van, and we used to go to the Ozarks every year. We had a week down there, and we would take Mary, Murphy and Merle, and that was one reason Corky said she moved back to Kansas, because everybody got to travel in the van with us, and she never got to. So she came back. And the pocket angels, Anna said I'd forgotten about that. She did so many wonderful things.